Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. In our last video, we talked about the temporary shortage list. Basically the jobs that still qualify for the lower salary sponsorship in 2025. If you haven't seen that video yet, click up here, or you could also check the description of this video. You'll be able to find that video there. Today we'll be going a step further. I'll be showing you how to actually search for sponsorship jobs in the UK in 2025, and I'll be giving you a step-by-step guide. I'll be honest, sponsorship is not as easy as it used to be. The skilled worker visa is now £41,700 to get, and the care jobs that you usually get are no longer on the shortage list, and employers that used to sponsor are now no longer sponsoring because of the new rules. I actually know a lot of people who work in the private and public sectors like banks and civil service who were hoping to get sponsorship very soon, but they were only told at the end of the day that it wasn't going to happen. So now the question is, how do you avoid such disappointment in the future? And how do you know which jobs and employers are actually sponsoring in 2025? That's exactly what I'll be breaking down in this video. I will start by explaining how sponsorship works. I will then share my screen and show you the exact places to search for, the filters to use, and the mistakes to avoid. Now let's go over how sponsorship works. To qualify for a skilled worker visa, three things must line up. The first thing is your job must be eligible. This means that your job must be listed on the general skilled worker list or the temporary shortage list. The next thing is your employer must be a licensed sponsor. This means that only companies approved by the Home Office can issue certificate of sponsorship. And finally, your salary must meet the minimum threshold, which is usually £41,700 or the going rate of your jobs. But sometimes, if your job is in the temporary shortage list, you could also qualify. If any of these three things I mentioned are missing, you cannot get sponsored. That's why so many people waste their time. They apply for companies that don't sponsor or jobs that don't qualify. But by the end of this video, you will know exactly how to check all three boxes before you apply. Now let's check where we can find licensed sponsors. Mind you, just because a company is licensed doesn't mean they're actually sponsoring right now. It only means that they can. So we won't stop there. We also need to check the job posting. So let's go with the first things first. Let's try and see if the employers are licensed. To do this, we need to go to the official gov.uk website and search for Register for Licensed Sponsors. This is a downloadable CSV file that lists every UK employer approved to sponsor skilled worker visas. Just scroll through or search for your industry. For example, if you're in the IT industry, look for companies like Accenture or Capgemini, all are small companies that are listed there. If you're in engineering firms, I think you should apply for jobs in constructions or energy. Now, where can you search for sponsorship jobs? You can search for sponsorship jobs in job boards like GradCracker, LinkedIn, and many companies' websites. And it's recommended most times to go to the company's website directly. How to check if a job qualifies for sponsorship? Before you can apply for any role in the UK, you need to confirm three key things. Is the employer a licensed sponsor? Is the job role eligible? Does the salary meet the required threshold? Now let's break this down with some real world scenarios. In scenario 1, we will be using a data engineering role which was advertised in the civil service website. So the first thing we need to do is to check the company. In this example, the employer is not a licensed sponsor. So technically the process will stop here, but for explanation's sake, let's assume they were licensed. So the next thing we need to do is we need to check the role itself. So the data engineering role falls under SOC code 2133, as you can see, and it's listed in the skilled worker eligible occupation list. Now that we have confirmed that, we need to confirm the salary being offered. So for COS issued after April 2024, the going rate for this job is £54,900, and the role we are looking at is offering for £7,650 to £51,450, and that's below the requirement. So even if this company was licensed, the salary does not meet the skilled worker threshold. So this particular job cannot actually sponsor. So now let's go to scenario 2, a data analyst role. So this role is also advertised in the civil service website, and the employer this time is HMRC. So checking this Excel sheet, we can also see HMRC cannot sponsor because they are not licensed. But let's again imagine they were. So for this data analyst role, we can see that for a data analyst, it's on the temporary shortage list, and the going rate for a data analyst is £34,900. Finally, let's check the salary that HMRC is advertising for this job. We can see it's 36,320 to 44,614, and this actually meets this shortage requirement. So if we were to actually apply for this job and HMRC could sponsor, the role could have qualified for sponsorship. Now let's go into the last scenario, which is scenario 3. So in this scenario, NHS Wales is the employer and the job role is a data engineering role. They're actually offering £54,416 to £68,344 for this role, and this is above the required going rate, which is £54,900. So this job is eligible for sponsorship, and if you actually check the job description, they actually specify that certificate of sponsorship could be negotiated. Now similarly, they also have a data analyst role, and the range is 31,516 to 38,000, and this 38,000 roughly is more than the £34,900, which is the going rate. And this data analyst role is also in the temporary shortage list, so it will be eligible for sponsorship. And if you actually still check the description of this job, you can see that sponsorship could be negotiated. Looking at these scenarios, we can note that when applying, we should always start with, does the employer sponsor? Then, is this role eligible? Finally, does it meet the salary requirements? If all 3 boxes are ticked, you found a genuine opportunity for sponsorship. Knowing how to check these details saves you time, helps you avoid dead-end application, and puts you ahead of others who just apply blindly. So to wrap up, if you want sponsorship in 2025, you need 3 things: the right job, the right salary, and the right employer. Start with the official sponsor register like I mentioned earlier. Filter your searches on the job boards and always confirm the details before applying. If you find this video helpful, make sure to share with someone in the same situation with you, and don't forget to subscribe. Peace out.